Hey everybody, welcome back to the garden. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kelly and today I thought I would just do a bit of an update video on the pumpkin plant situation that I shared with you last week. So about 5 or 6 days ago, I uploaded a video sharing some damage that I was having to my young pumpkin plants. I had an unknown bug attacking them and it ended up being a roly-poly bug, or also known as a pill bug, or some people commented in the comments, a slater. Of course it's called a slater. I really don't know why the name didn't come to me when I saw the bug. If you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure to pop the link below or up the top somewhere, so make sure you check it out. But that was the bug that was doing all of the damage to my pumpkin plants. I just wanted to take you for a little walk down this garden bed where I've got my pumpkin plants and just chat about what I did last week. And that way, if you are having the same issue in your garden, perhaps you would like to give this diatomaceous earth a try as well. So this was the spot where I showed the original plant in my video last week, and as you can see, it did end up dying, and I thought that was going to be the case because the stem was really eaten through last week before I discovered the plant. So I didn't think that there was much hope left for that plant, and it did end up dying. But good news is the other plants seem to be doing really well, and I haven't lost any more plants, and there's really minimal damage on the plants as well. So I've got one of my pumpkin plants here, and as you can see, it's actually doing quite well. I've just started attaching it to the trellis here to start climbing up, but all of this white stuff, no, it is not mildew. That is actually the diatomaceous earth. And as you can see, I have sprinkled it on the leaves, well, the lower leaves anyway, as well as some of the stem and around the soil as well, where the stem goes into the soil. Now this stuff here where I live is quite expensive, so I have had to use it pretty sparingly, although I didn't really need to use too much. I just kind of gave it a sprinkle. The main amount is around the ground where the stem is, just to stop any bugs from going close to the stem. Now, if you aren't familiar with what diatomaceous earth is, it is actually the fossilized remains of a crustacean called a diatom. And the way that it works in the garden to stop bugs is that it actually acts like really fine shards of glass to the bugs. And when they go to crawl over it, it doesn't sound very nice, but it actually cuts into their shell or their outer layer, and it causes them to dry out and then die. Now, I know that doesn't sound very nice, but it is actually quite effective in the garden. Every time I've used it, it has stopped the bug problem that I have been having. Now, keep in mind, it also does get any good beneficial bugs as well as the pests. So keep that in mind before you apply it in your garden. Although it is a natural remedy to help get rid of pests in the garden, I still only like to use it as a last resort because it does get rid of those beneficial insects as well. Now, has it worked completely? Well, there are still some bugs in the garden around these plants that I have found. By the way, look at all of this new growth here just since applying the diatomaceous earth last week. That's crazy. But as you can see, look, I've got a little bug down here. That is a ladybug chewing on that leaf. I know most ladybugs are good, however, this one here looks like a 28 spotted ladybug, and they do eat your plants. I wouldn't really call them beneficial in the garden, unlike some other varieties of ladybugs. You can usually spot the 28 spotted ladybug. Well, if you count all their spots, they should have 28 spots. But if you don't want to sit here and count their spots, then just have a look to see if they're munching on any leaves. And if they are, then you know yeah, look at that damage there. That is a bad ladybug. You can see it's also excreting like that orange substance. So unfortunately, this ladybug has got to go. I also ended up putting some diatomaceous earth around the base of these tomato plants here. This garden bed here is right next to my pumpkin plant garden bed, so I didn't really want to risk the bugs coming over and eating through the stems of these tomato plants. I did actually find one plant that the stem had been nearly eaten all the way through. So far it's still doing okay. I'm not sure how it will go. I do have some backup plants to plant out in case I do lose a few plants. But so far the diatomaceous earth is really helping these plants. They are growing beautifully, and there's even some flowers that I've noticed on some of the plants. This particular variety is called San Marzano, which is a paste variety, although it is an indeterminate variety of tomato, which means that it grows up like a vine and you do have to trellis it, unlike the Roma, which is a bush variety, and it kind of just obviously forms a bush on the ground. You don't need to trellis it. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to go with the San Marzano this year, well, I actually did plant out Romas in this bed, and we ended up losing them to a frost. I actually did a post on that. I was really upset, but it worked out for the best because I had some San Marzanos, and I was a little bit unsure about planting out the Romas because we have had some snakes. We've seen some snakes, and I was a little nervous about just having bushes of tomatoes. When I am trellising them like this, it's obviously going to be a lot easier to see snakes on the ground rather than growing a bush type and I've got to stick my hand in to pick the tomatoes. That would not be good. As you can see, I have put a bit of diatomaceous earth around the base of each plant, and they are doing so well. There's even some flowers forming on the plants, which is really exciting. I'm so excited to start harvesting some fresh tomatoes. Here's another little flower. In the comment section of my last video, somebody asked if I would need to reapply the diatomaceous earth when it got wet, so if it rained or when I water my garden. Now, usually I would say yes, you do. However, we actually got a bit of rain this afternoon, and it's looking really good. Now, whether it's still going to be as effective remains to be seen. I will have to keep an eye on that. But it didn't wash it away. It was only a bit of light rain. And in this garden bed here with the tomatoes, I do still have the irrigation running, which is only a drip irrigation, and it seems to be okay. With the pumpkin bed, I did turn off the irrigation because the soil was quite wet, and I was wondering if that was contributing to bringing in the roly-poly bugs. I feel a bit silly calling them roly-poly bugs, Slater bugs. So I turned off the irrigation in that garden bed, and yeah, I will see if that improves, although it's a little bit difficult to tell because I do have the diatomaceous earth down as well, so I guess it's not an accurate test. On a totally different subject, I just wanted to show you all this grapevine here behind me. It is going absolutely bonkers. It's actually coming away from the fence here, and I do have a fig leaf gourd kind of weaving its way through the vine as well. I'm really excited because we've got a whole lot of grapes in the garden this year, which I'm so excited about. We've actually got, I think, 7 grapevines, and this is one of these smaller grapevines, and it's still going crazy. So I'm really excited to harvest all of the grapes. The fig leaf gourd vine is just going nuts. I actually need to trim it back. I just haven't had time to get out into the garden and trim that back. I have been planning on doing a garden tour video, and I just haven't had the time to get out here and do that, so I haven't trimmed the vine back because I want to do the garden tour video first, although I really do need to trim that back because it's getting to a bit of a snake hazard, so I might trim that back tomorrow. The garlic is doing really well, and I think we're ready to harvest it pretty soon. I did do a video a couple of weeks ago, just a little bit concerned about my garlic, that maybe it was possibly rotting, but I think it might be okay. However, I do have another problem now. We have some of the garlics that have started witch's brooming. I think I'm using that term correctly. Basically, where it's to do with the weather, and yes, the weather has been very strange, where the cloves start to sprout again. So as you can see, we've got one here. So this is the garlic. It was looking all good, and as you can see here, it started re-sprouting again from the cloves. Now, it hasn't happened to all of the garlic. In fact, it's only been, you know, maybe a handful. Here's another one here that it looks like it's starting to do that. But for the most part, it's looking okay. And we need to get this harvested probably this weekend. So hopefully I will be bringing you a garlic harvesting video very soon, and hopefully we'll be harvesting a lot of beautiful organic garlic. That would just be an absolute bonus. So I will keep you all updated with the garlic harvest, and I will do my best to come out and film a garden tour, a mid-spring garden tour really soon. Excuse my scarecrow in the background. He's looking a little creepy. He's lost his head at the moment. We did have a basketball as a head with a mask on. Yes, a bit creepy, but did it work? It didn't work with the crows, but it did work with the cockatoos, and now he's lost his head, so he kind of looks a little creepy. Maybe he'll be more effective now. I don't know. Well, thank you so much for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure you give it a like, share it around, and subscribe, as that's really going to help my channel out a lot. And I really want to try and encourage as many people as I can to get out and start their own garden, start growing their own food. If you would love to see a garden tour video, make sure you write down below in the comments. Give me a bit of motivation to come out and film a garden tour really soon. But also I will keep you all updated with the garlic harvest as well. I'm going to head inside because, as you can see, the sun is starting to go down behind me and I don't have much light left out here. So I'm going to head inside and I will come back out, do some garden jobs tomorrow, and I hope you can get into your gardens then too. Until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye.